Good evening, everybody. Josh here, Crypto Goonies. Just wanted to jump on and do a quick little video for you today. And I just came back from the beach. It's a chilly night here in Southern Australia. For summertime, it's unusually cool, but beautiful walk on the beach this evening. And I just got to thinking. Well, first off, let's take a quick look at the market. So, brutal day today, right? Down to 508 billion, up from under the 500 billion mark earlier. Bitcoin has bounced back from under 10,000, just over 10,000. Still not looking spectacular by any means. Yeah, not a great day today for anything. Just jump into the quick. So we're getting some greens in the 1 hour report here. 24 hour is obviously brutally red. Cardano 12% down, Ripple 10%, NIM 14%. So some of the big caps are getting hit pretty good. Ethereum's holding only just over 6% down, and Stellar only 4% down. So a couple of the big caps holding strong. The little caps been killed today, 15%. I was looking at mine today. Unicoin Gold 22% down, Lunyr 21% down. These are just some of my personal holdings I was looking at today. As I scroll down those, First Blood 20% down today, Ardor 15% down today, Ethlin 16%. So yeah, brutal day overall. Obviously, we know the news about Tether. I was reporting on that a few days ago. I knew something was up, and I told you guys keep an eye out for it. So let's jump into this article I wanted to talk about. So today I want to talk about ICOs versus IPOs. So that's the big comparison. ICO is just like an IPO. Well, they're not. They're not even close. This is a great little article that came out today. There's our beautiful Aussie money down here. We got yellow, we got blues, we got reds. Very, very colorful money down here. Now, this is Jason Calacanis, and he's an angel investor. He's got in on Uber, Robinhood, Thumbtack, Wealthfront, Tala. He's a big time money guy. He doesn't dabble. He doesn't have any money in crypto, he says. However, he's been keeping an eye on it. He did write an article 6 years ago called "The Most Dangerous Project We've Ever Seen," with regards to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and decentralized money, etc. So he's a big part of Robinhood, so he knows his crypto for sure. First thing he says is something I've been saying and I've been preaching for a long time. This will end badly for most. Billions of dollars have been stolen, etc. But he's saying that the ICOs are they're horrible ideas. So a lot of them, 90%, are horrible ideas run by people who have no track record and no ability to execute. So what I want to talk about today is the big difference between ICOs and IPOs. So a lot of people think that when they put their money into an ICO that they're getting their investment like they would on an IPO. That isn't so far from the case. So let's just break it down as he does here. When you look at an ICO, understand there are multiple levels of significant risk stacked on top of each other. Most ICOs share this risk. Untested teams, we know that for a fact. Some are scam artists, others are just wildly naive. Top projects are raising far too much money before it hits any milestones. Overfunding is a very dangerous thing. Teams get complacent, teams get this big chunk of change, and sometimes that's enough. That's all they were after to begin with. A large number of bad or derivative ideas with crypto slapped on them. Uber with tokens, decentralized Twitter. We see that all the time. How often do you hear it's the so-and-so of the crypto world? It's like the Uber or the whatever. So again, ask yourself, does it need the blockchain? Why does it need the blockchain? Is the token utility, or is it just a coin, a store of value? We've got enough of those already, guys. Just a quick look back here. 1506, less than a week ago, this was at 1490. So just coins are just being added and added and added. And there's only going to be a few that make it out of this in the long run, guys, in my personal opinion. This is one of the most important things. You're not buying stock in these companies. You're buying tokens, or even worse, tokens that might show up someday. So you're not getting stock. You're not getting a piece of the company. They don't owe you anything. You're investing in a white paper. It's a fancy way of saying it's a bunch of ideas described in a PDF. That's literally you're buying these coins that have no intrinsic value. They can't have intrinsic value. You have zero rights with your tokens. They're not equity. You're not buying equity. You're not buying stock in a company. You're buying a coin that they're offering that they say might do something someday. So while some ICOs have paid off huge for people, 90% of them on average pan out for nobody. There's little legal framework for these offerings, and the Security Exchange Commission is a very serious organization, and they've started to sound the alarm. So yes, anyway, ICOs are a high risk, high reward opportunity. I think we all know that, but I just wanted to throw this article out there because I found it very interesting, because a lot of people don't think this through. They just think, I'm buying a piece of the company, but you're not. So here's for a living, he invests in IPOs. So that's initial public offering. So that's when a company first says our stock is public, it's ready to be traded on the open market. X amount of it's for sale, 49% of it's for sale, whatever it may be. They invest in a startup, which typically have built their minimum viable product or have a product in the marketplace with early traction, as opposed to white papers, which are no more than sophisticated than a back of a napkin idea. We get equity in the companies, as opposed to Chuck E. Cheese tokens that have never been actually used. So that's a good point. You buy a coin, an ICO, you get a coin. It has no intrinsic value. It has no purpose. Where when you buy an IPO, you get stock. You get a piece of the company. You get a say. Sometimes you get voting rights, depending on how it's set up. We have protected provisions in our investor agreements to keep us from being diluted. So basically, some of these coins, they say there's only X amount of coins in the world, but they can always print a few more. We saw this with Tether. They just keep printing, minting money. Sorry about that, guys. Dropped out for just a second. Final Cut Pro had a little hiccup. So anyway, I'm back. So yeah, protected provisions, basically that says there's only so much of this stock, and they have 5 decades. They've been doing this for 5 years with regulatory stress testing of the system. SEC's involved. We meet the founders of these projects multiple times, do due diligence, as opposed to zapping bitcoins to their wallet. So he says, now I'm not saying I'll never buy tokens, but it's clear to me that tokens are most often either a Kickstarter contribution, the product being sent 2 years late, a donation, or a gift to an incompetent people, or flat out a scam. There's probably 10% of these projects that are going to see the light of day and have a similar chance of success as an angel investment. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to jump on and talk to you guys about that real quick, because a lot of buzz about ICOs. A lot of people think they're getting in on the ground floor of something great. Sometimes you are. If you would have been in on the ground floor of a lot of these top 10, top 20 coins, you would have been great. First off, we haven't seen anything run up. In December there, we saw a lot of these coins, the Cardanos and the, just to jump in here, Tron and Stellar Lumens. These just rise from just meteoric rise to the top. But we haven't seen that much lately in the past month since the top 20 have kind of solidified their spot. We haven't seen those giant run-ups. So anyway, just be careful out there with your ICO investments. Do your research. Don't invest your whole save some money off to the side. Don't jump in. So the next bit of the article, he talks about Bitcoin itself could go to zero. He's basically saying it's the startup technology. much like AOL. Again, I've talked about this. He says, it could end up being the BlackBerry of the crypto world. Everybody likes to make their comparisons. AOL. And then this is what I've been saying. There will be an Amazon and a Google in the crypto world. So something's going to rise to the top. Something's going to make everything work. But it could take a crumbling of the building, a crumbling of the world to make that rise happen, much like the dot-com boom. So, spend 50% of your time learning. Invest no more than 5% of your net worth in baskets of projects. Be prepared to lose 100% of your investment if that does happen. And if you do hit a massive winner, say 50 times investment, make sure to sell some along the way. Take your profits on the way up. I can't preach that enough. And then the last little bit is he talks about if you take people's money for a token that you hope will someday have a utility, understand that person buying it believes 99% of the time that is a security. So the Security and Exchange Commission is coming down hard. They're catching on fast. If you say that your token is going to go up in value, if people invest in it believing it's going to go up in value, that becomes a security. That becomes an illegal commodity that you're selling if you're not going through the SEC to sell this. So this is founders beware. If people buy your token to make money, it's no longer a utility token. Even if those buyers sign a document that says, I'm buying a utility token and not a security. If they're buying it to make money, you're buying a security. So this is the big problem that ICOs are running into. This is why they can't even operate, most of them, legally in the U.S. right now. So again, he says he doesn't hate the crypto space, and he believes there will be some winners out of all this. Somebody's going to get really rich. Some people are going to make a lot of money, and it will be some life-changing technology. I don't think we've seen it yet. He doesn't think we've seen it yet. So anyway, this is a great article. This is on Coindesk.com. It was just published. Jason Calacanis. Look him up. It's worth looking into. One more thing I want to talk about real quick. The Lunyr. Lunyr Beta has dropped. I've been in this since the alpha. Here's my account, Cowboyography. I'm logged in. So this is what it looks like. It's a very clean look. You can contribute right here. You can write an article, and you can get going. It takes 5 peer reviews, rating of 80% or more to get approved, and then it goes in. All sources must be cited. If we want, let's take a look at a quick article. So we'll look at the Ethereum article, gas and Ethereum. So again, broken down very nice. You can even listen to some music while you read. Astounding piano. And then again, everything's cited, everything's back up, everything is peer reviewed, so it is legitimate for most paper writing, I'd say. This will be very exciting, I think, once it gets off the ground. And the fact that you can get paid in their tokens to either write articles or peer review articles. So there's some incentive to it, and there's incentive for good articles. And they're going to weed out a lot of the junk, and it can't just be manipulated like a Wikipedia page. Now, of course, most of it at the moment is crypto, but if we go in here, we got Hemorrhage Shock, we've got Toe, the band, Treasures of the Deep, the board game, Nuclear Throne, so veganism. So we're starting to get some articles outside of the crypto space, which is nice, which this site needs, because obviously if they're going to want to be the legitimate Wikipedia of the future, they need a lot more than just crypto articles if they're going to entice the mainstream. Hopefully this could start getting in some search engines, so when people start doing some searches for some of these things, they can be found on Google as opposed to just having to go to Lunyr, because that's where the mainstream adoption will come in, is when these are search engine compatible and people start finding these articles on their Google searches. So anyway, guys, just a quick article, ICOs versus IPOs. I think it's an interesting argument. I think it's a terrible comparison, and it's one that gets made a lot, so stop doing it. Anyway, like and subscribe below. I really appreciate it. Going to keep this content coming to you. We're gaining some traction. We're having a lot of fun doing it. And I'll have another video or two for you guys tomorrow. So take care. Good evening.